Welcome to this explainer. Okay, we're diving straight into a totally paradigm-shifting approach today. It's rooted in Hasidic philosophy, and it's all about how to finally break free from those overwhelming negative thoughts. You know the ones. If you've ever felt completely trapped in a loop of anxiety or fear, and you found that trying to fix it literally just makes it worse, well, you're absolutely in the right place. We're going to decode some profound psychological insights from our source text to figure out exactly how our inner mental landscape works, and, more importantly, how to actually master it.
Now here's the core problem we all face. Why is it that the harder you try to defeat your fear, your anger, or your anxiety, the worse it gets? I mean, you try to logically argue with your panic. You tell yourself to just calm down, but the volume just gets louder, right? Well, according to the text, trying to conquer these negative thoughts is actually a fundamental mistake. You're stepping into a battle you are absolutely guaranteed to lose.
So check this out. The crucial point is captured in this brilliant idea from our source. When you fight what doesn't exist, you give it life. The text uses this really powerful metaphor. Imagine getting all worked up over a dog that has 0 teeth and 0 strength. By reacting emotionally, you are the one giving that dog power. When you say, "I have to fight this fear," you're validating it as a massive, real threat. You're basically pouring your own precious life force into a total illusion.
Section 1. The Paradox of Fighting Thoughts. This is super interesting because it beautifully contrasts the historical era of spiritual warfare against our baser instincts with our current spiritual reality. Back in the day, spiritual work was literally all about battling the evil inclination, a process known in Kabbalah as refining the sparks. But the source text reveals a massive shift. That era of warfare, it's over. The battle has actually already been won. Today, our job is completely different. It's not about fighting. It's just about observing and detaching. It's really just about opening our eyes to a reality that's already here.
Section 2. Knowing the Two Souls.
To understand how to open our eyes, we really need to look at the two distinct entities operating inside of us. On one hand, you have the natural soul. A lot of times it's called the animal soul. It's driven entirely by survival, emotions, fears, and basic, primal desires. It panics so easily. Think about that part of you that makes your heart race and your palms get all sweaty just because someone left you on red. Yeah, that's the natural soul doing its thing. But then on the other hand, you have the divine soul. This is your true essence. It's infinitely calm, totally secure, and deeply rational. The grand mistake we all make is getting confused about which soul is actually us.
Section 3. Identifying the Surviving Child.
Okay, so building on that, we realize that the voice in our head screaming in panic is not our true self. It's actually just a frightened inner child trying to survive. The text literally calls this the surviving child. So when you get hit with an overwhelming wave of anxiety, it isn't your intellect or your true spirit freaking out. It's just a primal emotional echo from childhood. It's a part of you that feels fundamentally unsafe and is desperately trying to protect you the only way it knows how, which is by sounding the alarm bells. And this perfectly illustrates just how absurd our internal panic can be. Imagine a highly successful 45-year-old CEO who suddenly feels deeply terrified or abandoned just because a Tuesday morning meeting got rescheduled. It's totally irrational. It's not the capable adult who's terrified. It's literally a 7-year-old child from their past temporarily taking over the microphone. The text emphasizes that the exact moment you realize the one suffering is just a scared kid and not the adult you, everything shifts.
Section 4. Practical steps to release identification.
Now, here is your highly practical step-by-step game plan for when those overwhelming negative thoughts hit. Step 1. Notice the negative emotion. Don't try to stop it, don't fight it, just watch it happen. Step 2. Identify the surviving child. Literally say to yourself, I see the 7-year-old is really scared right now. That is not the 45-year-old me. And step 3, which is absolute crucial. Release identification. You've got to stop saying, "I am afraid," and start saying the surviving child is afraid. Deliberately stop claiming that fear as your own identity. You just let go of the grip.
The second you stop identifying with the surviving child, this rapid positive chain reaction kicks off. First, you detach. And because you are no longer feeding the panic with your adult energy, step 2 happens completely naturally. The child calms down. Then step 3, your rational mind steps right back into the observer seat. And finally, step 4, your divine soul, which is your true self, illuminates and takes the driver's seat. The whole shebang starts with just breaking that false identification.
But what happens when the stress is so high you can barely even think straight? Well, the source text offers this fascinating insight using the number 40. Just like the biblical flood lasted 40 days and a purifying mikvah requires 40 measures of water, extreme stress kind of acts as a mental flood. Surprisingly, these mental floods actually serve a divine purpose. They push us to our absolute limits until we literally throw our hands up and say, "I can't control this anymore." And in that exact moment of exhaustion, we finally surrender our ego. The sheer stress literally forces us to break our false identification with the natural soul.
Section 5. Opening the eyes. This powerful metaphor from the source perfectly captures our situation. Imagine an 80-year-old man who has lived his entire life in agonizing poverty. Out of nowhere, he inherits hundreds of millions of dollars. But because he's blind, or maybe he just stubbornly refuses to open his eyes, he keeps living as a beggar on the street. He has no idea what to do with the immense wealth he literally already possesses. You see, we have already been given the ultimate spiritual freedom, but we suffer because we stay stubbornly identified with our poor, frightened, natural soul.
So what you really need to take away from this explainer is that there is absolutely nothing left to fix about your natural soul. Trying to heal it or fix it is honestly just another way of obsessing over the poverty. Your only task is to open your eyes to your true identity. The only exile that exists right now is entirely inside your own head. You are not the surviving child. You are already the divine soul, completely whole and totally at peace.
I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought to consider. The very next time anxiety or negativity strikes, when the panic sets in and that inner child starts screaming, will you stay trapped in the illusion of the poor man? Will you fight a battle that absolutely doesn't need to be fought? Or will you release your grip, detach from the panic, and finally open your eyes to the millionaire you already are? The choice and the ultimate freedom is entirely yours.